Today's episode of the Just Keep Swimming podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible is an online audiobook and podcast service offering over 10,000 books and the ability to listen to your favorite podcasts, including the Just Keep Swimming podcast. I personally use Audible all the time and suggest you take a listen to Intentional Living by John C. Maxwell. In this book, Mr. Maxwell shares a story on how he was able to live a noble and purposeful life and gives you tips and tricks so you can do the same. So please start your 30-day free trial now at www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast, all lowercase. Again, that is www.audibletrial.com/JKS podcast. And if you have any more questions or concerns for the Just Keep Swimming podcast, you're always welcome to reach out to us on Facebook or on Instagram at Just Keep Swimming _podcast, or you can email us at jkspodcast702@gmail.com. And with that out the way, let's dive into it. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Just Keep Swimming podcast. This is your friend, your boy, your host, Mr. Adrian Jackson, and we back at it again with another great episode for you. And you already know who's with me. It's the man, the myth, the legend. It's Mr. 1-3, dropping hot beats for the city as always, so make sure you guys keep up with his latest projects. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to have a quick conversation talking about know the difference between A and B. So I'm not sure if you guys have been seeing a lot of these videos recently, but I've been seeing them on my timeline a lot. There seems to be like videos where somebody will come up and he'll say, you know, this is mad and this is angry. What's the difference? And then he'll explain the difference between the two. And personally, I've been finding those videos pretty helpful because there are a lot of things that I thought were, you know, the same thing, just interchangeable for the words. But it turns out that they're not the same, and you know, they have two different words for a reason, and we need to understand what's the difference between some of the stuff, you know. And I think that right there is like really, really important when it comes to life in general, to know the difference between what you're talking about, what you're asking for, or you know, whatever subject that you're doing good in. You really need to know the differences for all the nuances inside the subject, you know. Like for example, for me, yes, I host trivia with Geeks Who Drink, but I host a lot of different type of games, and I really have to know the difference between every game that I'm hosting, because every game has different rules, different ways to play it, you know, different understandings and even levels to the game, you know. Like I can't go in and host regular trivia with the same mindset that I host small batch trivia, because small batch trivia is more family friendly. Like I have to walk in with a different mindset. Same thing like when I deal with students, you know, I can't treat the high schoolers the same way I treat the middle schoolers. I can't even give them the same information on the same level because they're not going to understand it or properly use it correctly. You know, the seniors, they need more raw, more straight up, you know, less sugar-coated information so they can make the proper decisions for their life to come, compared to the middle schoolers. You know, their information can be a little more pretty, a little more sugar-coated. You know, yes, I'm still going to give you the difference between A and B, but I'm not going to dive in as deep. I just want you to understand that there is a difference. But, you know, as of right now, me trying to dive in deep to explain the differences may cause more confusion, may cause more harm than good right now. So, you know, you really have to understand the differences between so many things out there in the world, you know, like the basic stuff. Football, you have offense and you have a defense. You have to understand the rules of when you're playing offense, and you have to understand the rules of when you're playing defense. It's all football. It's all a team sport. We're all going to win and lose together, but you have to understand what side you're playing on, what rules apply to you while you're on that side. Prime example, you know, on an offense, you can use your hands to block, but you can't wrap your hands around anything, or that's going to be considered holding, aka you're low-key tackling somebody. Compared to defense, boy, you better wrap up, because if you don't, you're going to miss that tackle and you're going to get embarrassed, offense, you have the running backs, you can't move until the ball is hiked. The offense has to stay still until that ball is snapped. Defense, you can move as much as you want to, make as much adjustments as you want to, but you have to make sure that, if the quarterback throws the ball, you don't hit them too late. Compared to offense, you can block the whole time until the whistle is blown, So there's so many different rules, so many different nuances that we truly need to understand and really just get a grips of it. And I think that it'll be really beneficial for us to get grips over the misunderstandings that we have, because it'll just make us be able to communicate better, help us understand better, and help us just be more creative in our vocabulary and just the way we present ourselves. Like, for example, a while ago, I know I was having issues understanding between frustration and anxiety. And I think, yes, when I get anxiety, I get a little frustrated, but I need to understand where does this frustration come from. It's coming from anxiety. Those are two different reasons, two different sources, and I need to understand the true difference with them. My frustration may come when I'm trying to speak and people aren't talking to me, or, people aren't responding back the way it is, or I feel like I can't get something across. Compared to anxiety is me worrying about something that's going to come, and I'm fearful of it because I'm scared I'm going to embarrass myself, or I'm going to do something wrong. And me being fearful for my anxiety may cause my frustration, but frustration is something that's happening in the moment when I'm struggling in the moment, compared to anxiety, which is something that I'm nervous about for something to come, and that right there is a big difference. But a lot of us may confuse it, because when we have anxiety, we get frustrated, or when we get frustrated, we get anxiety, and then now we don't know how to move properly, or we can't even truly explain ourselves, Like, for example, some people can say, oh, I'm sad. So you have the mindset to cheer them up, but it's like, they're not really sad. Maybe they're depressed, maybe they're just off their game a little bit. Maybe they're mad and they don't know how to say that they're mad. The only term they know how is sad, or vice versa. Maybe they're sad, but they only know how to show anger when they're upset. So they feel like they have to, play this role. And you get what I'm saying, pretty much. Like, we have to really understand the differences between the terms that we're using, start to use the right terms, and just understand the differences between a lot of stuff, and that can go into something as simple as cooking. Everybody out there who eats eggs, there's so many different ways to eat eggs, but I never knew there was a difference between a fried egg and an over easy egg, And, you have the fried egg, which is what I was taught my whole life, where you just crack the egg on the stove, on some oil, it crisps up on one side, you flip it over. And I always thought that was an over easy egg. But then I started to watch YouTube, and I seen that a lot of people who make over easy eggs never flip their eggs at all. They just crack into the pan. They may put the top over it and let the steam from the eggs the steam from the cooking cook the egg all the way through. And then, that's how you get the beautiful sunny side up egg that you see on TV shows and stuff like that, But if I would never actually stopped and did the research to understand the difference between it, I don't think I would have learned the difference between it, and I would have mixed them up my whole life, And that's one thing we really have to do to learn the differences. We need to stop and understand. We need to stop and do our research and figure it out, The dictionary is an amazing source for vocabulary. Make sure to use that dictionary. Google's an amazing source. ChatGPT helps out a lot. There's so many YouTube videos out there that are explaining some of the most confusions for the world that we always confuse up. Like a while ago when the whole gender thing and pronouns and all that stuff happened, a lot of people were confused between sexes. What's just between sexes, or what's just between gender, and one is what you're born with and the other one's what you identify as. And that right there is really a big difference that we truly need to understand and process to really get this information processed correctly, So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my speech for today. Let's try to take our time to understand the differences between some of the stuff. Yes, some things are so close and so similar that it's hard to know the difference, and it might, be a very, very little difference. But there's other things out there that's actually a big difference, and we constantly mix them up all the time. Like, shoot, a truck and a crossover. those are two different things. Yes, you have an SUV, which is made for larger, but you have a crossover, which is a mix of an SUV and a car. So it's like a small truck, but that's something we need to know the difference about. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this episode resonated with you guys today. I hope it made sense in some way, shape, and form. If you guys want to share something with us, you're always welcome. We do have some pretty good episodes coming up for you guys in the future right now. Right now, we're just ramping up, trying to finish summer, get ready for the school years to start. So I know we've been doing a lot of stuff on the side. Like I said, I've been traveling and stuff, but we do have a lot of stuff coming for you guys. So look up for the winter semester or the fall winter years, or seasons, sorry. And yeah, we'll be back rocking and rolling, no question. But with all that being said, we hope you guys have a great day, a marvelous afternoon, a splendid evening, and remember to just keep swimming.